Hello and welcome to my studio. I'm Jessie and this is the Knit Up and Dye podcast, episode 108, Too Hot. As always, I'm going to start with my thank yous and I have my cheat sheet here. Special thank you goes out to all of my subscribers, new and ongoing. I love you guys. What you see here is all about you. Your comments, suggestions, and questions drive the content of my podcast, and I would love to know what you want to see. Special love and thanks go out to Amy, Emily, Toonie, Tara, Diane, Allison, Barbara, Adriana, Wayne, Sonia, Patricia, Lisalete, Cappy, Kath, Jorge, John, Benty, Christy, Neetsy, Charlotte, Roseanne, Linda, Marie, Eve, David, Donna, Betty Ann, Scott, John, Kate, Janet, Terry, Monica, Carolyn, Nancy, and Rachel. Much love goes out to my Zoom family. Your support means everything to me. Robert, Juanita, Paula, Brian, Jen, Elizabeth, Katie, Shirley, Roz, and Jamie. I love you guys. A warm hello and thank you goes out to all of my patrons. You honor me. You make this possible. And I have huge appreciation for all of your support. Let's dig in. Life. This week, I lost an entire day to a migraine. Kind of hit me out of the blue. I got up in the morning, got ready to go to work, felt a little dizzy, felt a little nauseous, pushed through, went to work. An hour later, I drove home and went to bed and slept the whole day away, trying to learn how to manage these things. It seems like everyone changes and is a little bit different, and the symptoms are a little bit different, and all I can attribute it to is changing hormones. And I keep trying different methods, and I had some great suggestions. I had posted my misery and got some really great suggestions. Wayne, thank you. Yes, I am following through, and I'm gonna try some new methods of handling it. I got really lucky. I only lost one day. Sometimes they last 2 or 3 days. I'm sure those of you that have them understand. And it gave me some rest. The worst case scenario was I rested for a day. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, this week my car also broke down. It's been a challenging week, and the temperatures have been very, very high, which only contribute to the fatigue and the stress and just the whole process. It's been a challenge, but there was knitting, and that's a good thing. I could rely on my knitting and my crafting as stress relief, and sometimes that is everything. Also in the life updates, Lily's foot is doing much better. I had talked to you about my dog had a broken nail. We did get through a solid 48 hours with the wrap on before she just plain had enough of that. We removed it, and really the injury had healed considerably, and she's doing much better. She's a lot happier. I spoke to you guys briefly last week about website changes coming up. We are working on that. It is advancing nicely. I am on track for an early August release, and you guys will be the first to hear about when that goes live. I'm working very hard to integrate everything into one place so that there's a lot less clicking, a lot less searching for my content, and get you some added benefits, get you some more interesting content in there as well. We're also coming up, it is July, and what happens in July? Well, of course, the temperature is incredibly hot here in the US, so we start thinking about cool temperatures. For us, that means we're thinking about Christmas. So I'm already starting to plan ahead for my ornament exchange. This will be the second year that we do it. The ornament exchange is a lot of fun. Basically, I ask you to craft, fiber craft, by any method you want, whether it's weaving, knitting, crochet, whatever, felting, a fiber craft ornament. And I ask you to make 6 ornaments and send them to me. And there's a minor fee just to cover postage for yours back to you, but I swap everybody's ornaments around, and then at Christmas time you get this lovely gift of 6 ornaments back from a variety of other crafters. This is great fun. We really enjoyed it last year. If you missed out last year, we would love to have you on this year. We have an added consideration this year. We have some interest, and we would very much like to expand to include Europe. There's some added logistics that go into that, and my very dear friend Eve has offered to help work the Europe version of this for me, so that you're not paying the exorbitant shipping to send it to me and have it go back to Europe. It would instead go to her in the UK, and she would do the Europe swap and get it out to you at a much lower shipping price point and a lot faster at that. So what we need to do is we need to get a handle on the interest. How many of you are interested in this? So if you could please message me, if you are in the UK, Europe, wherever, please send me a message, email me, and let me know, yes, you're interested in doing the ornament exchange. This is not an obligation. This is not, if you show your interest now, we're not saying, oh, you're stuck with it, you have to do it. What we're saying is there enough interest for us to do this? Or is it really so small that we need to look at another option or not do Europe, which I would really love to include Europe. I would really love to make this a worldwide grouping. So Europe, we're going to include Australia and New Zealand in that grouping. Basically anything other than the United States, Mexico, and Canada is the Europe version. So message your interest. Let's hear from you. Let's see if this is something you all want to do. And certainly if you are in Canada, US, and Mexico, message me and let me know that you're interested as well. Let's get a handle on how many people want to do this and see what we can do and have great fun with this exchange this year. So other things. Hand spinning. I didn't do any this week. None. Losing that day and the evening of the next day to my broken down car, I didn't get that done. I really only got knitting and crochet done this week. So what have I been knitting? My Stormy Sky Shawl by Life is Cozy is in progress, and I did get a lot done on this week. I'm really excited by the progress I'm making. I am under half a skein to go. I think I'm even below that at this point. Oh yeah, I'm probably 25% of the skein left, if even that. You can see it's gotten quite flat. I made a lot of progress on this week. There's my progress marker right there. And here's where I'm at now. So I put on probably another 8 inches, and it is really getting large and beautiful and drapey. I am still just so in love with how the yarn knits up in this pattern. It is a beautiful, beautiful pattern for yarns that are variegated or that are challenging yarns that have a lot of colors in them. It just makes beautiful use of them. This particular yarn is my Swanky colorway. It is on my Tap Monkey base. It is a 75% wool, 25% nylon, and it just is durable. It's a beautiful sock yarn, but it's a wonderful, durable shawl yarn as well. And I couldn't be happier with this. I'm really thrilled that this is one skein. This project is one skein, and I have room to go, and I am beyond screen width here to show you. It's quite sizable, and I have not blocked this yet, so it's going to grow even more. Very happy with it. Beautiful, beautiful piece. I can't wait to give that. It's a gift that I'm knitting for a woman that I work with who's in her first pregnancy, and I just think she's going to adore it. I'm so excited about that. I did get some work done on my crochet this week as well. This is the Through the Clouds pattern. This pattern is by, I forget every time, Rachy Newin. Rachy Newin's pattern is available through Ravelry. Just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I'm not a crocheter as a rule, but I saw this and I fell in love with it, and the longer it goes, the more in love with it I am. there's my progress marker right there, stuck in right there. So I got better part of 1.5 inches done this past week, and I changed up into another color section, and I'm just thrilled with it. I added an extra skein. The pattern calls for 3 colors, and I'm actually doing it with 4. So I'm not being religious to the pattern. The stitches are the same, just the repeats are slightly different, and of course the color combinations I'm doing are slightly different than the order that the pattern suggests. Yes, I'm a rule breaker. But I wanted to add that extra skein to it for the extra color play and for extra size. I'm going to go big on this one. And I just am so in love with how these colors are playing out. I love what the camera does with it. The camera just, I think it, I don't even know. I can't explain what I see that's different. I think my eye muddles in and I'm so busy looking at the individual skeins, I'm looking at the individual colorways, that I don't see it in bulk the way the camera does. And the camera just shows the tones so beautifully and the different stripe sections. And I'm sure that its perception is much more like you would see this from a distance. I just simply am looking at it very, very close because I'm pretty blind and I'm working on it. Loving this project. I would recommend it to anyone. I am, again, like I said, not a proficient crocheter, and I'm handling this quite beautifully. I'm very proud of this piece. It's coming out very lovely. It's really just a simple pattern, very easy to do, and I would recommend it to anyone. Certainly, if only for the color impact and the woven look of this. I just fell in love with how woven this fabric looks. I hope it's focusing. We'll go with that. So definitely progress was made. Let me move that progress marker right now so I can keep a gauge on this. I really am enjoying having the progress keeper in there. I have such a sense of accomplishment by putting it in there. If you have a project that you feel like you're lagging on, put a progress marker in it. And just promise yourself that you'll touch it once in a time period. And you'll be amazed at how much you can get done in a very short period of time and how much that progress marker goads you on. I look at that and I think, oh, I've really only done a couple of rows, I'll put on one more. And boom, so much more gets done simply because it's there to remind you that you haven't put that much on. It should not be a stress marker. It should not be a stress marker. That's just my experience. It reminds me to work on it. It reminds me how much I've accomplished or not accomplished. And I like it. It doesn't stress me out. I feel good about it when I look at it and I go, oh, look what I did. And it also gives me a sense of, because I've got a lot of different projects going on at once, seeing that marker there, especially if I've had any accomplishment, releases me from that project and allows me to go and work on something else that hasn't gotten as much attention. It kind of gives me such a sense of accomplishment that I feel like I can work on other things at the same time. I'm liking using my stitch markers and my progress keepers. I would recommend that as well. What have I been dying? Haha. I get several messages this past week about the cliffhanger that I left you with last episode where I didn't show you the end yarn. I didn't. Part of that was because it needed to dry. It needed to dry. The color changes significantly from wet yarn to dry yarn. And it's important when I show it to you that I show you the end result. If I show it to you interim, you may fall in love with something that doesn't exist. And that's almost as not fair as a cliffhanger. So let's take a look at the yarn that I dyed. So here's the skein that I dyed up for you. This is exactly as it is, dried fresh out of the pot. No additional actions were taken to it than what I demonstrated on the podcast. It's beautiful. It's a lovely teal with a dark red, and it has these beautiful navy speckles on it. But it's not what I was aiming for. This was one of the skeins that I wanted it to fade against. I wanted this to be a jumping off point where the next step would have less of the orange in it and more of the navy in it, more of the teal in it. But what happened was I changed my red, and I intentionally changed the red thinking that this red was being more accented by the orange and making it look rustier, and I wanted it to be more of a rust. But when I changed up this red and I took the orange out of it, I took too much orange out of it. And hopefully the camera is showing you there that one is a yellow red and one is a blue red. They're not going to blend as nicely as I wanted them to. And to best show you that, let me twist these together a little bit with those reds together so that you can really see that the reds are in contrast with each other. Which could be lovely if you're doing a red on red project, but when you're working them to blend them, it's not going to work. See how the reds are striping? We don't want that. It's pretty, but it's not the action we were going for. The blues are beautiful together, absolutely. The purples are working together, absolutely. But those reds are in high contrast with each other, and that's not what we were hoping for. So I'm going to dye it again. I'm going to make a slightly different version that has more of a yellow-red associated to it. I'm going to tweak it back a couple shades. Will this other yarn be available? Absolutely. But it won't be in mass production. I will simply be selling that as a small craft lot, as you will, as a test skein. Ultimately, I really want the skeins to fade beautifully together, and I just missed the mark on this. Regardless, I got some beautiful yarn, and a lot of lessons were learned. Part of the concern here is that this red ended up with some pink rather than some purple in it, and I didn't want to go into new shades quite yet. That pink and that orange aren't going to work together. Sometimes dyeing is nothing more than an experiment. Sometimes you really have to play with colors. Sometimes you get skeins of yarn that, although are beautiful, aren't quite what you aimed for. That's okay. Every skein that you dye is still going to be useful. It's still going to be beautiful, and you always have more opportunities to try again and learn from what you've made. I love this. This week I had an acquisition. While I was home with my migraine, I got a lot of rest. But when I finally was feeling better, of course, to entertain myself, I started clicking through on Instagram. And I found another indie dyer that her work is just beautiful, just beautiful. And she was having a sale, and as you know, I'm desperate for more yarn. I just do not have enough yarn in my world. I took advantage of her sale, and I purchased from Trilogy Yarns. It came so beautifully packaged. Nancy, this is beautiful. I don't know if you watch, but this is Trilogy Yarns by Nancy Olfs. She is out of, I believe, she might be in Washington. Yes, Spokane, Washington. Her colorways are just beautiful, and I wanted to show you this lovely packaging. She has a business card in here and a couple little tea bags for me. I haven't even opened it. This is the big reveal. But I loved her packaging. I loved how distinguished and beautiful this was. It was a gift to myself because I was feeling rotten, and it arrived as a gift. It was just really a beautiful presentation. I'm jealous. I don't present as nicely when I ship out my yarns. I try to send out very clean and it's in a nice package, but this is a presentation, and she's classy. I purchased 2 skeins of her glamorous base. This is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. There's 400 yards, over 100 grams. And the colorways I got here are Cosmic Sunshine. It's got pinks and oranges in it. It's just beautiful, very speckly, a lot of change in it. And I got Swimming Upstream, which is this really beautiful, the camera's kind of blowing it out. It's a beautiful coral color. Hopefully, yeah, that kind of pulls in the tone a little bit better. It's this beautiful coral color. And I saw these on her shop, and I just thought they're really lovely together. Even where it gets kind of fuchsia here and orange here, with that coral, it all blends in. And I know I'm insane, but I was thinking, I love these colors together so much that I bet I could find one, maybe two other skeins that really complement these two, and I could make another, right, through the sky, through the clouds shawl, which is that crochet project that I'm doing, and just do it off in coral tones instead of the blue-green tones that I'm doing now. And this would be beautiful together. I know, finish one thing before you go planning another. But I just love these yarns so much that I really thought their interplay of color together with a couple other colors would be just stunning in that shawl again. So that's what these are earmarked for. I'm going to set them aside, and I'm going to start playing with other yarns in my stash. I need to use some of my stash. And see if I can find one or two other colors that work so beautifully with these, and really pull up and highlight some of the rosy and some of the orange tones in here, or maybe even pull off more into the fuchsia and really go into darker tones. Maybe a magenta would be lovely with these. But I'm going to start playing with those and try to come up with that arrangement of colors to do that shawl again. And having that on deck, seeing these beautiful yarns together, really inspires me to finish that other one, just so that I can cast on another one. It's an illness, this is an addiction, and yarn is beautiful, and it keeps us active, and it keeps our minds active, and it gives us beautiful things to wear, beautiful things to gift, while keeping us at peace and stress-free and happy and smitten and broke. Just really, really beautiful yarns. Nancy, I hope that you watch. If you don't, certainly I'm going to send you a review online in your shop. These are stunning, and I'm delighted that I found you online. I couldn't be happier with my acquisition, and thank you so much for such a beautiful packaging and for fast shipping. And I recommend Trilogy Yarns. There she is right there, Trilogy Yarns. And you can find her online. I'll have the link here with her Etsy shop on trilogyyarns.etsy.com. Thank you. That is just about everything I have for you guys this week. Be sure, if you are considering becoming a patron, that you check out the patronage website. There's exclusive content, and there's going to be a lot more exclusive content in the very near future here as I'm working on a new design. And I like to really share that design process with photos, with my general thought pattern. The process is really introspective, and it's really interesting, the different challenges that we face as designers with ourselves, with our ideas, how to communicate what we're doing, how to design something that's fun, that's enjoyable, that is a pattern that somebody else can reproduce. There's a lot that goes into that, and I'm trying very hard in my posts to convey all that I experience when I'm doing this and going through this process. So there will be a lot of exclusive content with regards to the design I'm working on right now. I am also taking time this afternoon to storyboard my Squircle tutorial figure out where I'm at, exactly what I need to do to get to the point where I can video that. That is coming up very, very quickly. That's everything I have for you guys this week. We'll see what I can accomplish and get out to you next episode. I love you. I look forward to hearing from you. Please message me if you're interested in doing the ornament exchange. And I would love to see pictures of what you're knitting and crocheting and spinning and share. Let's see what we have. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bang it, pump it, drag it, pump it, pack it, pump it, boom, till they have a heart.